Hi friends, I'm Brian Cosby. This is Provide and Protect, and today we're taking a look at prepping and why you should be prepping and why so many young Americans now are prepping. And I think there's some amazing benefits to it. Not that we have to be weird and go down that road of just being a doomsday prepper and building bunkers and all that kind of stuff, but really just living like our grandparents. So let's get into it. So I came across a very fascinating article the other day, and this was published December 8, 2023. And the title of the article is More Young Americans Doomsday Prepping for 2024 Election System Not as Stable as We Assumed. And in this article, it says that a poll from Finder.com earlier this year found that 39% of American millennials and 40% of Gen Zers reported spending money on disaster prepping in the last 12 months. By contrast, only 29% of Americans in general spent money on emergency preparedness. And I was thinking about this, and I was wondering, is this a good thing? And I do believe that it is. Pew Research, they do a lot of polling. They have classified the following generations by general values and beliefs and culture, that kind of thing. And the millennial generation, those are those born between 1981 and 1996, and the Gen Z generation is 1997 to 2012 is how they classify those different generations. And these generations, this younger generation, so if you're between the ages, this is 2023 now, between 11 and 42 right now, then you are part of this younger generation that 40% of our generation. I'm 42, so I'm at the top end of this, I guess. But this younger generation, 40% of this younger generation is buying things and spending money on things for emergency preparedness. And I think this is a great thing. And so what I'm going to do is give some benefits to this and maybe why you should consider prepping as well. So it's not hard to see how fragile our system is. And I was thinking about a number of things that people prepare for today, and it could be everything from natural disasters, an EMP attack, a power grid down, global pandemic, whether that's real or not, supply chain issues, oil pipeline disruptions, war, economic downturn, soaring inflation, water contamination, food shortages, limited or loss of access to basic supplies. All of those things can happen. And I don't want to operate out of fear. I don't think anybody should just operate out of fear, but I do think it's even a biblical reality to look ahead, and if you see certain danger coming, you can prepare for it. And I think this was something that, in a way, in a lifestyle that my grandparents, how they lived. They would have a family garden, and they would really use and utilize that garden for supplying some basic needs. They would have a way to get water that was maybe different than just the turning on the tap from whatever municipal water source that might be, utilities, whether it's a well or some other system of getting water. Preserving, canning food, a knowledge of tools and equipment, a knowledge of basic first aid, knowledge of building fires. I mean, all kinds of things that I feel like this younger generation, me included, a lot of us have just lost. And so that's why I'm so happy to hear that more and more younger Americans are waking up to this need to prepare and think ahead to how am I going to survive. And so what I typically ask people, here's what I typically ask people. Can you survive, you and your family, for 2 weeks with what you have right now in your home, in your pantry? Can you survive for 2 weeks? Or would you need to go immediately to the grocery store to buy something? What about a month? Not too long ago, we saw the gas prices just going up and up and up. Of course, inflation is going up. When the pandemic hit, remember all of the toilet paper and I guess all paper kind of products just went off the shelves. There have been supply chain issues with food. There was a wheat crisis not too long ago. And for a lot of people, they're also realizing the need for preparing against an EMP attack or something like that. Even there's a huge government agency in Chattanooga area. I won't say which one, off the top of my head, but huge government agency that is relocating their entire building. This is a massive government agency. They're relocating their entire headquarters to a remote area that is fully EMP proof. And you're thinking, why would they spend billions of dollars to do this move? Well, maybe they know something we don't. I don't know. But at least they're thinking ahead. They're preparing for something. But I don't want us to think just that preppers are only doomsday type preppers where you have to spend all your life savings and go buy a bunker. It's not. I don't think that. But I do think it's wise to provide and prepare and protect your family, and maybe having 6 months of food. There's all kinds of shelf-stable food and that you can buy, and I'll put some links to some down below. Not sponsored by anybody, but all kinds of food that you can buy, having good water source, and we'll have more videos on some of these things later on. But I think all of these are just kind of a normal, reasonable, wise thing to do, and you don't have to be weird about it. I think it's just encouraging that for others. When I think about prepping, I think there are some healthy benefits to prepping. One of them is it encourages us to be less dependent upon the fragile supply chain and upon even the government. So we're less dependent on others to provide for us and less dependent on the government. I think it also encourages creativity and resourcefulness, maybe even resiliency in the face of challenges. You know, if things go south in our economy, in our nation, maybe in your community, wherever you are, it's going to require a certain element of being creative and being resilient and resourceful with what you have. But if you have no knowledge, if you don't have any skills, any kind of plan in place, it's going to be really, really, really tough. And that's why I think this is a good thing, and why I commend the younger generation. I think it also reduces fear and anxiety. If you have food and first aid and water and basic supplies that you need to keep going day to day, you have less anxiety, less fear, less stress. You know that those things are there. So if something does happen, you are not panicking. It buys you time to make maybe future plans at that point. And I also think that prepping teaches you skills just for your everyday life. I think it's a good thing to learn things like first aid and building fires and how to take care of animals. Animal husbandry, how to grow your own food so you're not so dependent upon local grocery stores, having a family garden, all those kinds of things. If you want to do chickens, we have chickens, we've got goats. Maybe you're not in a place, maybe you're in a metro area, city, and you can't do that. Maybe you can think about buying some land somewhere that you could, or at least making those connections with other local farmers somewhere, or those that are, and you can maybe start creating your own supply chain with others outside of a metro area. So these are all, I think, benefits just for anybody to be engaged in prepping. Well, as we all try to be better providers and protectors for ourselves and our families and for our communities, I think this is one of those areas that is just fundamental to think about, to plan for those events, those things that might happen in our lives and maybe in our nation. So I hope this is helpful for you. If you've not already done so, please consider hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. I really appreciate you and your support, and we'll see you on the next video.